Hey guys, this is Drama Queen 129 and welcome back to our playthrough of Everlasting Summer. This is part 3. So we're gonna head in. So the last time we played, there was someone behind me, and I was like walking at night and there was like someone behind me. A girl reading a book. Lena. I decided to move closer and talk. She was the only new person I had met here without exchanging even a few words. Hi, what are you reading? Lena was so surprised that she even jumped. But this girl is too skittish. Sorry, didn't mean to scare you. Never mind. She blushed and stared at the book again. So what are you reading? On the cover was written Gone with the Wind. Oh, she's reading Gone with the Wind? Scarlet. Praise the book or keep silent. Don't be shy to her. I mean, I'm not trying to romance her, but because she's too quiet for me, but be nice to her. A good book. Thanks. Honestly speaking, I haven't read it, but I think that such literature suits her very well. Lena didn't seem to be interested in continuing the conversation. Well, if I'm bothering you. No. Just look at how angry she looks. She answered while still looking at the book. Can I sit beside you for a while? Why? And really, why? Maybe just because I was tired and having company is better than being alone. And maybe I wanted to try to find something out from her. Sometimes it's just typos. I carefully examined Lena. But no, I doubt that. Well, I don't know. I'm not allowed to? Feel free. But if I'm bothering you... No, you're not. This is getting a weird conversation. I can leave, just say, everything's alright. This is getting so stressful. Okay then. I sat on the end of the bench carefully. After such an intense talk, staying here was the last thing I wanted, but it wouldn't be nice to just stand up and leave. That didn't really go well, huh? Lena hasn't answered anything. It seems I made a fool out of myself. I bet if Uliana was here, she'd have a good laugh at me. Do you enjoy being here? I recalled this Slavia's question and thought it would be a good start for a conversation. Yes. She smiled slightly. I guess I like it too. Lena definitely isn't very sociable and probably can't carry on a meaningless conversation as easy as Slavia, but there was something about her that attracted attention. Maybe it's the purple hair. Like a momentary glimpse of a reflection in the glass on a rainy autumn evening, which makes you turn around and stare into darkness, searching for something that you saw out of the corner of your eye. Of course you weren't able to distinguish or understand what it was, but it still felt so tempting. Lena was still reading the book without paying any attention to my presence, and I had no intention of asking her anything about this camp or this world in general. Beautiful night. Yes, look at how angry she is. How in a world would you start a conversation with her? It's late, I have to go. Yes, it's quite late. Good night. Night. There was something strange about this girl. At first glance, she is a typically shy and modest pioneer girl, but the mystery of Lena took its own place in the massive list of mysteries about this camp which I had started to put together in my head. A lazy evening. There's nothing like a good time with nothing to do. I headed towards Olga Dmitrievna's cabin. The light in the house was on. Hello, Semyon. You're quite late. Yeah. I went for a walk to look around the camp. All right. You will be sleeping here. She pointed her finger at one of the beds. Right here? This sounds so seductive. I was a bit surprised. Yeah, something wrong? We're out of free cabins anyway. The camp leader smiled, but I rather think it was just out of politeness. You do want to be a decent pioneer, don't you? There was a clear emphasis on the word decent. Yep, sure. I was lost in thought for a moment. Don't you mind it, mademoiselle? She looked at me oddly, with surprise and some offense in her eyes. A pioneer should respect their elders. Olga Dmitrievna said strictly. Of course he should. No one argues with that. I blathered, not realizing what was wrong. Shouldn't you also... She stared at me. Under such a gaze, even mithril forged by the best dwarf masters from the deepest dungeons would melt. Should I what? What's up, Toots? That response. Annoyance and a lack of understanding made me raise my voice. You must address adults appropriately. I always want to say properly. Yes, of course, there are a lot of strange things here, but this girl is just a couple years older than me. Or maybe even younger. But I decided not to argue. Well, just a few minutes ago I would never have called her an adult. I have to admit that she was also given a strong character. Are you praising yourself, game? Are you saying that ooh, look at us, we gave her a strong character? In any case, I wasn't in a position to argue. As you say, ma'am, I mumbled. That's much better. That is how a decent pioneer should conduct himself. And now it's time to sleep. Honestly speaking, I was going to become neither a decent nor an indecent pioneer. Just yesterday I wasn't going to become a pioneer at all. But do I have choice now? If you don't want to, we'll have to make you, is the motto Olga Dmitrievna was probably going to use. Well, that's rude. I climbed onto the bed and closed my eyes, only to realize how tired I was after today. Something hammered in my head awfully, as if my brains had started on a night shift. And they seemed to be aimed more at rolling steel than working on something more sensitive. The bus flew through my mind. And the square with the monument. The canteen full of pioneers. And the malicious face of Uliana. She's not malicious, she's... Oh! Slavia. Lena. And even recalling Alyssa didn't give me too much of a negative feeling. How does she not? You know how angry she always is. What if I'm here for good? We still haven't met that fifth girl with the long blue hair. Day 2. I was having a dream. It seemed like I was in some kind of vacuum with nothing but nothing around me. But not only around, I was the only creature in the universe, as if the universe had returned to a state of singularity right before the Big Bang, and something was just about to happen. Suddenly I heard a voice. I could not make out the words, but it sounded familiar. The voice was whispering something gently, as if soothing me, and then I realized. It was the voice of that strange girl from the bus, the girl from the dream. But what is she trying to tell me? Who is she? I woke up. Bright sunlight struck my eyes. It was almost noon. After stretching lazily on the bed and yawning, I started to recall the previous day. In few seconds, all its events passed before my eyes. The bus, the camp, the local inhabitants. No, that's just wrong. Not this whole situation, not me being here. It was wrong by default. My attitude towards what was happening was wrong. Because yesterday I fell asleep here just like that, and before that I chatted nicely with the local pioneers, even managed to crack a few jokes. How could I act like that in such a situation? I should be frightened, startled by every rustling, should avoid all contact with the potentially hostile creatures. He's really thinking of this like a military personnel. The last day's events were getting hazy, like I had a hangover. This really feels like the morning after a heavy drinking party. Yesterday's natural, flawless, absolutely normal conduct becomes a nightmare in the morning, a grotesque illustration from the Divine Comedy. Yes, it's just like that, and I can't change the past now. Then again, I probably assessed the situation and was acting accordingly. I glanced around, trying to figure out whether I had been thrown somewhere else, but Olga Dmitrievna's cabin looked the same as yesterday. Everything seemed to be in its place, except for a pioneer uniform, which is hanging from the bedhead. I fumbled with it in distrust and tried it on. At least this is better than walking around in winter clothes. I wish I could see myself, bet I look like a clown. And for that I needed a mirror, at least a tiny one. There's one right there on the wardrobe. Yeah, I finally found one on the wardrobe door. Holy! I have no eyes! I looked at the newfound pioneer and jumped away in surprise. There was some teenager on the other side of the mirror. He resembled me, but he wasn't me. Where did the weak stubble go? Where were the bags under my eyes, the slouch, that deadly fatigue on my face? It seemed that I had not been thrown back in time or into a parallel reality, but instead had simply changed bodies with someone else. Right, that's a real symbol. Such things happen every day. I took a closer look at this stranger, and only then I realized that it actually was me. It just wasn't today's me, maybe the one from between my school and university years. Well, at least that's something. There you go, the person in an extreme situation did fail to notice the elephant in the room after all. But the camp leader noticed it, and last night she told me off for addressing her without proper respect. Ah, screw that. I doubt my appearance affects anything else. If the clock was not lying, breakfast was long over. Oh well, I'll try to find something in the canteen. It worked out well yesterday with Slavia, didn't it? Those memories made me smile involuntarily. The sun was shining brightly outside, a light breeze was blowing. A beautiful summer day. I had not felt so good in the morning for several years. All problems were gone, vanished into clouds that were white as snow. Olga Dmitrievna came out of nowhere. Good morning, Semyon. Morning. I smiled, doing my best to show that no matter what, my morning was indeed good. You only arrived yesterday, so I decided not to wake you up, but breakfast... Never mind, here, take this. She handed me something wrapped in paper. Judging by the oily stains, there had to be sandwiches inside. Oh, thank you. Now go wash yourself. I was about to leave. Wait a second. Olga Dmitrievna quickly ran into the house and came out to shove a small bag into my hands. Inside it I found a toothbrush, soap, a small towel, and something else. I did not look too closely. A pioneer should always be clean and tidy. Let me do your neckerchief properly this time. Yours is askew. You should do it yourself once you learn how to. Do we have to? I'm going to wash myself now. Yeah, right, it could get hooked on the tap and strangle me. Fine, later then. And don't forget about the lineup. Pencils, paper, drawing lines. You don't forget such things. What lineup? What do you mean, what lineup? She frowned. It's Monday today. Weird, by my approximation, it should have been Sunday. Then again, a shift in the day of the week is hardly the worst thing. Usually we have lineups early in the mornings before breakfast, but it's Monday today, so we're having it at 12 o'clock. Don't be late. All right, but where? At the square. Where else? There's no reason to argue. I headed to the bathing place. I knew I could forget about separate showers and toilets, but at the sight of this malfunctioning symptom of decaying socialism, a funny turtle with a tin shell paw taps and a ceramic belly, I felt sick. I was not a squeamish person, but nevertheless, standing there I realized that there was still some minimal level of habitual comfort from which I found it troublesome to do without. It's often like that. When you lose things that you thought were ordinary and common, you suddenly understand just how essential they were. Ah, screw this, as if I have any choice. Ooh, rainbows. The water was ice cold. While washing my hands was not an issue, washing my face and mouth became a big problem. There was no toothpaste in the bag which Olga Dmitrievna left me. I could brush my teeth without it, but there was a small round box wrapped in the towel. Tooth powder. Cute. One point for me being somewhere in the past. I washed myself quite quickly, also due to the ice-cold water. Someone was coming quickly, or more like running towards me. I turned around. It was Slavia dressed in a tracksuit. I'm romancing this girl, if I can. She's kind of my dream. This girl will probably look good in anything. Pioneer uniform, bikini, even probably a spacesuit. Hey there. Oh, hey-oh. I mean, good morning. Yeah. Oh, yeah, real smooth. Why didn't you come for breakfast? I overslept. I said it as if I was proud of it, but Olga Dmitrievna gave me some sandwiches. Oh, great then. Don't forget about the lineup. Yeah, sure. As if I could forget. Right, I gotta run. Enjoy yourself. She waved goodbye to me and disappeared around the path's bend. Looks like it's a couple of minutes until the lineup. I should quickly pass by my home to drop off my washing bag and eat the sandwiches. Oh, I skipped it, sorry. I swung open the door of the camp leader's cabin and rushed inside, as if jumping into the last car of a departing train. It didn't turn out to be the best idea, because inside I found Olga Dmitrievna, who was changing. I froze on the spot, trying not to breathe. Finally, the camp leader noticed me. Semyon! I looked away immediately. Have you heard him knocking? Now get out! Yeah, that was real clumsy. Although I did enjoy the sight. I don't know why it didn't show me. Maybe I have that turned off. Olga Dmitrievna followed me out in a minute. Here, take this. Now it's your home, too. She handed me a key. I put it in my pocket. Home. Of course, if you disregard how fantastical the current events were, this camp was far from being the worst place on earth, but to call it home, just after one day spent here, I doubt I'll ever be able to do so. All right, let's go. We're late. What about the sandwiches? Just eat them on the way. We were passing along the lines of the pioneers' cabins while I was tucking into the ham sandwiches, and Olga Dmitrievna kept on talking and talking. She was buzzing like a game of Operation with Parkinson's. That is so offensive. My grandma had Parkinson's, don't you? Michael J. Fox has Parkinson's. Don't you make jokes about that. But I cared about nothing but the food. Understood? Huh? You weren't listening. Sorry. Today's the first day of your new life as a pioneer, and you should do your best so that it becomes a happy life. Yeah, definitely. I'm serious. A pioneer has many duties, great responsibilities conferred upon him, to participate in social work, to help his juniors, to study and study and study again. And we here are all like one big family, and you'll become part of it. Yeah, a part. I'd even sign a party membership card, but if you could save me from listening to this nonsense. I hope that after your term here is over, you'll keep the most pleasant memories about our camp, memories that will last your whole life. And when will this term end? Why do you keep asking silly things? It seems I won't get any information from her. A shame, really. This world appears to be so friendly, but it never bothered to introduce itself to me. Perhaps now I can take things somewhat easier than yesterday. It seems like I have some unspoken ceasefire with it. It isn't trying to hurt me, but I'm forbidden from asking questions. Of course, the situation isn't a pleasant one, but what can I do about it? A bad peace is better than a good dispute. The most important thing for you now is to make the best of the time you'll spend here. I'll do my best. Honestly, I was very tired of this conversation. It would be good to know where that here is, but... We came to the square. The pioneers were already lined up. What, is somebody not here yet? Nope, all here. She looked around at her brave pioneer troops. Alright, go stand somewhere. Weird. Why didn't you tell me there are no more sleeping places? While the chief was running her mouth about our plans for the week, I stared at the people. A few heads away from me stood Electronic, a little further Lena and Slavia, and at the end Uliana and Melissa. Who's this girl with the black hair, though? And where's that other girl that's, got blue hair? Everyone I had met was here. Olga... You did not meet the black hair girl. Olga Dmitrievna spoke about some competitions, and I turned my attention to the monument. Genda. I could not remember any revolutionary with a similar name. He had a weird posture, too, as if he was looking around with disgust, maybe contempt or even disdain. Probably some local leader. Daydreaming again? Slavia brought me back to reality. Olga Dmitrievna stood nearby. Still remember the plan for the week? The plan? I'll never forget the plan. Perfect. She looked at Slavia. Did you bring it? Yes. Slavia handed me a piece of paper. It's a checklist. Here are 4 tasks to check off. Do it all today. Before you start, sign up for a club. There are some clubs in the clubhouse and a musical club in the separate building. Then visit the infirmary, and finally visit the library. Got it? Yes. The checklist seemed like a good chance to find out something, since I had to go to places I haven't been before. Now come on, start right now. What about lunch? Don't worry, I'll bring you more sandwiches. The checklist is more important. Good luck. Alright, so... Go... I don't remember what to do. They departed too fast for me to ask anything else. Miss breakfast, now I'll miss lunch too. This ain't good. Maybe I'll manage it in time somehow? Lunch starts at 1 p.m. Then again, if I go there, I might miss a place from the checklist. Okay, it's too early to go to the canteen anyway. Alright, first pick a club. Then go to the infirmary. Then go to the library. Okay, we can see where everybody is. Alright, let's go find a club. I went to the clubhouse. To tell the truth, I never really liked the extracurricular activities. At school, I used to find any excuse to skip extra classes. At university, I had no interest in participating in the student council. I wasn't interested in boxing, aero modeling, or sewing, so I came here just to check off the box. Nobody was there. I found myself in something like a hut of a junior robot enthusiast. There were wires and simple printed circuits scattered everywhere, chips, and on the table proudly stood an oscillograph. I heard voices from another room, and then 2 pioneers appeared. One was Electronic, the other one I didn't know. Hey, Semyon, we've been expecting you. It seems he knows everything about everyone. Why were you expecting me? Well, of course, because you came to sign up to our cybernetics club, didn't you? He didn't let me answer. And this is Shurik. He's in charge here. I assume there's only 2 of you in the club. Well, you can say it's 3 now. Shurik came up to me and assertively offered his hand. His face was somewhat familiar. Welcome to the club. Yep. Now I'll show you around. Make yourself at home. Alright, guys, I just wanted to... We're always welcoming new members, he said in such a way that the anthem of the Soviet Union started playing in my head. It's amazing, I even remember the words. In the 1st grade, I had a textbook with the lyrics on the back. Oh no, I just wanted you to sign my checklist. Yep, you sign up to the club and we'll sign your checklist, he grinned. I was getting ready for a long and boring argument, but then I heard someone enter. I looked back and saw Slavia. Semyon, I hope they're not giving you any trouble. She narrowed her eyes, looking at the future of the motherland's robotic industry. I know these 2. They can. Well, you know, actually, I just need to get my checklist signed. I decided to take advantage of the situation. No problem. Give it to me. Slavia took the paper and marched up to Shurik. Sign it! Hold on, we're not done yet. You're done. Sign it now. She gave Shurik such a threatening look that it made him lose every possible objection. He wrote some squiggles on the checklist. I thanked Slavia, then moved on in a mellow mood. I think I'd go... What's the point of visiting the infirmary? My health was fine. The fresh local air clearly did me some good. I felt fresher than usual, but I just have to visit it. I entered. A common infirmary, like my school doctor's room. A middle-aged woman sat at the table. Obviously she was a nurse. She gazed intently at me, assessing me while continuing to write something. Well, hello, Pioneer. I'm sorry. She's not a drag queen. I had to give her the lowest voice possible, said the nurse without being distracted from her work. Good afternoon, ma'am. I have something. Sit down, please. I looked around the room. On the couch. I sat down. Strip. She said all of it with an even tone. What for? To inspect, to ascultate? To check on your health, you know. By the way, my name is Violetta, but you can call me Viola. She turned to me. What are you waiting for? Strip. But I have no health issues. I got this. I neatly gave her the paper. Later. She took the stethoscope off her neck like she intended to probe me with it. But then someone knocked on the door. The nurse answered unwillingly. Come in. In a moment the door opened widely and an electronic rushed inside. Hello, I fell during the football game. Nonsense, of course. I'm okay, but Olga Dmitrievna. There was a massive bruise under Electronic's eye. I doubt that this could be a football injury. Sit down, I'll have a look, she said to him. My voice is cracking. And you, pass me your checklist. The nurse quickly signed it and continued. If something hurts, come to me immediately, Pioneer. I decided not to answer and went out, closing the door behind me. The nurse is surely something else. Alright, so we've missed lunch. Let's just go to the library. Actually, I love reading, but spending my days in a library under the current circumstances was well beyond my scope, so I better hurry up at this checkpoint. As I stepped inside, a memory from my childhood emerged in my head. It was very vivid. I'm 7 or 8 years old. I'm at the library with my mother. While she's looking through the books I might need for my studies, I'm sitting in the corner and looking through their collection of comic books. But back then I didn't know why they had so many, or why couldn't I take some with me. The notion of collective property was something in my mind hadn't grasped yet at the age. However, back then the whole concept of property was pretty hazy to me. This memory seemed even stranger now, while I was standing in this particular camp, where they might have managed to build communism in 3 years. Soviet symbolism was all over the place, and the shelves were full of related literature. Of course, I wasn't planning to read any of these. Getting acquainted with a full collection of books by Marx was the last thing on earth I could think of. Where's the librarian? I didn't spend much time looking for her. I looked closely. Oh, it's this girl. Short hair, thick glasses, rather cute face. She was snoring so peacefully I just couldn't wake her up. I can wait. If she doesn't wake up in half an hour, maybe then. I couldn't just sit here, so I took a random book from the nearest bookshelf. Arthur Schopenhauer, The World as Will and Representation. I opened it roughly in the middle and started reading. The life of a man, with its endless upkeep, wants, and suffering, is to be regarded as the explanation and paraphrase of the procreative act, i.e., the absolute claim of the will to live, and furthermore, it is also the reason the man owes nature his death, and thinks with anxiety of this debt. Is this not the evidence that our existence involves guilt? At any rate, we always exist from time to time paying with death for our birth. We always exist and alternately bear all the joy and sorrow of life, since neither of us both can pass us without some effect. That is a result of our stated will to live. Thus the fear of death, which in spite of all the miseries of life holds us firmly to it, is really elusive, but just as elusive as the impulse which has attracted us into it. This attraction itself may be seen objectively as the mutual longing glances of two lovers. They are the purest expression of the will to live in its affirmation. How gentle and tender it is. It wants happiness and quiet pleasure and mild joys for itself, for others, for all. Someone knocked on the door. I closed the book quickly and put it back in its place. What a nice habit, knocking on the door. I should pick it up. It was Lena. Oh. Hi. I smiled. Hi, I just wanted to return a book. She had a copy of Gone with the Wind that I saw yesterday. Oh, Xenia's sleeping. I'll come back later. I gotta figure out a voice. Give me a second. Alright, since we have so many characters, I think I'm going with Australian. I'm awake. I turned around and surprised to look at her. She eyed me closely from behind her table. What is it you wanted? I need you to check here. Give it here. She quickly signed the paper and gave it back to me. She had this look on her face that made me want to keep quiet. Lena came up to her to return the book. I thanked Xenia and went out. I guess we go to the music club. The music club, a small one-level building, was located some distance from the other camp buildings. I opened the door and entered without hesitation. There was enough instruments for a whole orchestra here. Drums, guitars, even a piano. I spent some time looking closely at every instrument, wanting to guess the time period they were from. Oh my god. The girl seems like she was looking for something. She was standing on all fours in such a suggestive pose that I hesitated to speak at first. Excuse me? Ah, who's there? She tried to stand up, but the bottom of the piano prevented her from doing so. Ouch! I need to figure out a voice to give her. She struggled out. Sorry, I scared you.
It's nothing. Oh, you got a checklist. You must be new here.
Yes.
My name is Miku. No, really, I'm serious. Nobody believes me, but it's my real name. My mother is Japanese. My dad met her when he was building... Well, it wasn't him who was building. He's an engineer. And he was working on a nuclear power plant there. Or a dam. Or a bridge. Whatever.
She was talking so fast she swallowed half the words she tried to pronounce. I'm Semyon.
Great. Want to be in our club? It's only me here now, so it'll just be the two of us then. Do you play anything?
When I became antisocial, I bought a guitar and learned a few chords, but then I forgot about it since I quit everything that required more than a couple hours to learn. You know, I wasn't planning to do anything like that, really.
Oh, it's okay. I'll teach you. Maybe a trumpet, for example? How about a violin? I know it all, honestly.
There was no point in arguing with the orchestra girl, since there was only another cascade of words waiting to be blast at me. Hey, I'll think about it. Can you just sign it for now?
Yes, sure. Give it to me. Be sure to come around. I sing too. I'll sing you some Japanese folk songs, or maybe if you're not into that, something more contemporary.
Sure. Thanks. Gotta go now.
Of course. Come anytime.
The end of her sentence stayed inside. It might be nice to hang around with a guitar in the evening, but in such company. I turned to leave and came face to face with Alyssa. She eyed me suspiciously. Why did you come? The checklist? Got it signed? Yes. Then move it. Alyssa went inside and I hurried to leave the place. Finally, I got all the signatures. Now I had to go back to Olga Dmitrievna and give it to her. She was sitting in front of her cabin reading a book. Doesn't look like a good role model for the perfect pioneer that she was planning to turn me into. I wonder if her responsibilities extended beyond fiery speeches at the lineup, scolding Oleana and getting involved into my moral, physical, and ideological growth. Here. I offered her my checklist. She placed it in her pocket without even looking at the signatures. Great, I could have signed it myself without going anywhere. Perfect, so did you meet our nurse? Yes. For some reason her question sent shivers down my spine. Which club have you signed up for? I didn't. I needed to think first. That's a pity. It's vital for you to sign in somewhere tomorrow. Of course, sure. Right, it's time to go to dinner. About time. I was getting hungry. I headed to the canteen together with Olga Dmitrievna. I looked at the sky and noticed the sun was already setting. On that porch stood Alyssa, Electronic, Oleana, and Slavia. As we came up, I heard what they were talking about. And never call me Deviche again, or you'll get another one. I didn't call you that. You're hearing things. He did. I heard it all. You weren't even there. I was, in the bushes. Come on, you guys, stop it. This is like a lightning round of voices. So it wasn't a football injury Electronic suffered from earlier today. The nurse did a good job. I couldn't even see his black eye. Olga Dmitrievna came up to them and asked about the ruckus. What happened? Elisa and Chizakov. I didn't do anything. She shrugged with antipathy, I guess you could call it, and went inside. Right, dinner time. Alrighty. So I think I'm going to end it there. Sorry if it's a little bit shorter with all the editing. Sorry if I screwed up words a lot. My throat is killing me for some reason. Maybe it's all the talking because I don't normally talk. But I really hope you enjoyed this episode and all of the clubs and choosing, and I hope you like my choices. So thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you on the next part. Bye!